Hi everybody, welcome back to our Coach on the Couch season preview series. We are here at Stratford High School with Stratford Tiger boys head coach Curt Schmidt. Coach, thanks for being on the couch today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, a number of these interviews have been at a table, or I know over in Marshfield we were just standing around hanging out, but Coach on the Couch lives up to its name here at Stratford. We get to be on the couch. I like it.
Sure is. Yep.
So we'll get started here. We're going to learn a lot about Stratford boys basketball. We'll remember last year a little bit. First though, Coach, tell us how many years you've been coaching, and then what keeps you coming back to the sport?
I think this is my 21st year of coaching Stratford. I coached 5 years before that, just in college. I did youth stuff, baseball, basketball. And when I first got here, 1 year of JV at boys, and then I was head girls coach for 4 years. And then I think this is my 14th, 15th year now with the head boys coach. You know, what keeps me coming back is it's in your system. I mean, I love competition. You know, I'm too washed up to play anymore. So I love the relationships with players. The number one reason why I do it is the relationships. There's something about a brotherhood. I mean, my son talks about it all the time, my oldest son, about the family atmosphere that they have when we had basketball, baseball, and football. Right now he talks about it all the time with the football team.
Yeah.
And they're all tight. I mean, they do stuff together all the time. They got each other's back. There's something about being a part of that. Like there's just that camaraderie, the relationships with the players, the going to battle together, metaphorically speaking, seeing the growth. You know, it's you get older and you start to wonder, okay, how long? You know, because it's a long process. It's, you know, it's not what it used to be. It's summer and there's just a lot all year round. But as long as I still keep enjoying it, I still thankful for the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, good. Well, Coach, we're glad you're back. Certainly one of the finer people in Central Wisconsin, as I've got to know you over the last couple of years, and certainly an attribute to the whole community, basketball and otherwise. So we're glad you're back this year, and we're looking forward to another season of Stratford basketball. We'll put a date on this one. We just sent off the Stratford football team to the state title game. They'll play tomorrow. By the time people are watching this game, that game will be about a week and a half old, and they'll know the results by then. But yeah, that's where we are right now. And so with that being said, what that means is a bunch of your guys are on a bus to Madison. You're going to go to practice after this. How in the world do you conduct a practice in a situation like this?
Well, it's interesting because I think we have about 10, 11 guys total. Most of the guys play football. You know, here's how I look at it. It's you're so happy for them and the football coaches in the school because, you know, they're understanding how to win. You know, my best basketball teams generally they've had good football teams. You know, good athletes. They've sacrificed. They work hard. They have a desire to win. You know, these kids are winners, and you know, so we do basic fundamentals. We keep it pretty light with the other kids. We don't, you know, we do some scrimmaging. We let them kind of do some fun stuff, and then we go to the fitness center and. You know, so it's lighter. It's not a typical practice, but it's still they deserve that opportunity to you know, we didn't go every day because there's stuff going on. You know, we had parent-teacher conferences yesterday, and we didn't want to have them come in at 6 a.m. just to you know do some light stuff. And then Friday night we have a late practice. We're not going to have them come in for that because so they can get ready for deer hunting and whatever else. Whoever else does that stuff or whatever. But other than that, we'll go Monday and Tuesday next week with a regular practice with the 10 guys that we have. We'll give the football players a week off. So they have, because some of them are banged up.
Yeah,
and
no
they
doubt.
need I think they need the emotional break. I think they need the physical break. I think they need to just enjoy what they've done.
That's right.
And not jump into something else. And now, does it set us back? Absolutely it does. You know, it's hard, but last year we went 22-0 in the regular season, first time in school history, but we barely eked out some wins early.
Yeah,
barely eked out some wins early.
Sure.
But then eventually, I would say probably middle to end of January is where I start to see them catch up fully. I know it seems weird, but you know I've done this about 8 times now.
Yeah, last year and then now again this year.
Well, in the early 2000s, I had 6 in a row.
That's right. That's right.
So you know, I still don't think I have it quite all figured out yet. What is the best way? But I know for them, it's best for them to take a break so they can come back, you know, more refreshed.
Coach, you mentioned last year that outstanding run you had. That run took you all the way to a sectional where you ended your season against Wisconsin Dells. Just think on the year as a whole last year. What were some of those favorite memories? Some of those times where you were just just happy to be with these guys and just had a fun time last year. What were some of those memories?
Well, we had some adversity. We had a really good senior group of leaders last year. But, we had some of our key players go through injuries. I mean, to see our kids plug into different spots and to overcome. And, we had, our two leading scorers out for probably a total of 5 games last year and still win and plug people into different roles and spots. I think watching them, be able to go undefeated during the regular season was a really, really awesome accomplishment. And then, obviously, they won the conference. And then, obviously, winning by 30 plus, 37 against GT in a regional final game, and then getting humbled the next game against the Dells, where you play your absolute best, and then you don't play close to your best the next game. And one of the things that that I've read recently, after you do an autopsy on what happened and all that stuff, is you have to train and work hard enough to beat your opponent on their best night and your worst night. I thought that was a profound piece of literature that I read recently, where it kind of brought that up last year, where we didn't play our best game. The other team shot really, really, really well. We had been a really, really good defense, and it just seemed like we were just miscommunicating, and it was like we were a paper defense all of a sudden. And we had been a pretty good defensive team all year. And we just ran into a buzzsaw, and that's the hard part about basketball, is you run into buzzsaws, and if you're not at your best that night, you're not hitting shots, and you get into foul trouble, and you get weird stuff happens. The hard part about games like that is you can't press the reset button afterwards. Right. I would have loved to play a team like the Dells before the playoffs, because now they expose some things, whereas sometimes good becomes the enemy of great. We were a good team last year, but you don't always see all your weaknesses, right, or they're not exposed to the light because another team doesn't quite expose it. Another team, they were athletic, they had a guard 6'7", and we had some matchup issues. And, but unfortunately you had to go home. And we had a special group of seniors, and that's probably the hardest part of coaching is when you see your seniors go. And they put a lot of time and energy, and they did a great job with our underclassmen. So.
All right, again, we're visiting here with Curt Schmidt, head basketball coach here, boys basketball at Stratford High School. Coach, we'll get into some conference talk, and then we'll talk about, that'll transition nice and easy for us into this year's season. The Merriwood, for as long as I've known it, has been somewhat of a top-heavy conference, and the Merriwood South, Stratford, Auburndale Marathon, and you could go 1, 2, 3 in any order a lot of those years, and that's kind of the way that it's happened. How do you kind of handicap the Merriwood, and especially the Merriwood South, and how all those teams kind of fit in their places?
Well, I think what you said earlier is correct, but now you add, an Edgar, again, who has a very nice junior class. Edgar's going to be a good basketball team, and Weisenbeck does a really good job with Assumption.
That's true. And
they've had many, many good years, but they sometimes hit that roller coaster where they have some kids that don't go out or they don't have as much talent as they, usually do. So when you look at that and you look at Wausau Newman, they're going to be young this year, but they're going to be up and coming. They're going to surprise some people with the young talent that they have coming up. So when you think about that, you're like, wow, there's really just no weak teams, and the North is going to produce some pretty good teams, Rib Lake specifically. Phillips has always been really, really strong, and Prentice is, they do a good job too. So, so I can't really pick one in the South that's going to be above. I think it's just going to be a tough night every night. I know that's coach speak, but it's going to be a hard year. I mean, we'll have to work really hard every night, and it's going to be a very, very good competitive season for people to watch across the board, I think.
Good. Well, Coach, we're looking forward to that. Many of the games found at ZaleskiSports.com. 100 games scheduled for this winter sports season. Job number one, get down to the gym, cheer on your favorite team. If you can't make it, use us as a backup at ZaleskiSports.com to watch these games live. Or if you miss the game, you go back and watch them anytime you want. They stay out there forever. So, Coach, we'll now talk about this year, senior leaders, and, of course, your high-low offense features Vaughn Bright and Ben Barton. Tough offense to stop. What kind of an emphasis do you put on those seniors? And as they kind of, now will have their send-off here in basketball, what responsibility do they have to play on this team in practice or in those games?
Well, first and foremost, they need to lead well, and they need to continue to lead, within our values of our culture in our program, and they need to set the example. The old saying is, if your best players are your hardest workers, you could be a pretty dangerous team. And once they get their break and they get healthy, I would expect them. They're pretty motivated from last year. That was a bitter pill for all of us to swallow. That one took me a while. For myself personally, but I know it was a hard loss for the kids because we all had aspirations to be able to play at the Kohl Center. Unfortunately, we put a lot of stock into it, and then we momentarily forget about we had a good season, but we get so wrapped up into a tournament, which justifiably so. It's important to all of us. It's something we all want to do, and we all want to get there. So they still have that taste. I think they're going to come in really, really motivated this year to build off of last year and to work hard. You got to remember too, my assistant coach, Corey Heckel, and myself talk about this a lot. Seniors always have a different mentality than the underclassmen because it's it for them. It's it. When you're younger, you think you got forever. And you don't always approach the game the same way. But seniors, if you got a good group, and we did last year, and we had a really good group the year before, this is my last thing. And the younger guys follow us here. We want to get things done. And so I expect a really good year, a great class of leadership out of our seniors. And I really think it's going to be just a good, fun year for these kids to work hard and play hard together.
Coach, lastly, we'll talk about goals for this team. We mentioned conference play, and that regular season will exist largely in conference. And then playoffs after that, we talked about that Dells loss that was in Division III. You'll participate in Division IV postseason this year. With the season you had last year and with the transition to Division IV, a lot of folks around the state are expecting to see the Stratford Tigers at the Kohl Center. Is that a goal for this year's team?
Well, absolutely, it's a goal. It's a goal to win our conference. It's a goal to get to the Kohl Center for the first time in school history. Is it something we're going to dwell on every night? No. We're going to take it one game at a time. Win our day, win each day, win each practice, win each game. You got to be healthy. Luck, as I was one of the coaches on the baseball team. We had a good team, but luck is a factor that things have to go your way to get all the way to the Kohl Center and win a state championship. It just has to. Baseball specifically, and those are my two main experiences with coaching. Is once you get the higher ups with levels, it becomes a flip of the coin, and the weirdest things can happen. And like I said, I experienced it with baseball, where in the sectionals you win 2 games by 1. You win your first regional game by 1-0, and it's like could go either way. And basketball, if there's a lid on the basket that night for you, and it's a wide open tub for the other team, you're in for a long night. And all you can do is take one possession at a time, practice at a time. But also, I will reiterate this: is it's so crucial to enjoy the journey. I remember early in my coaching career when I coached girls, and I remember the thinking, wow, they've never won a conference title in school history here, and all of a sudden we're 15-0. We're playing awesome defense. That's what our emphasis was. And all of a sudden now you're not enjoying anything, because you're young, and you're watching film all the time, and you're focused, and you want to, and that's more of a selfish mentality from a coach. Whereas I've gotten to the point where I want to enjoy the journey with kids, not try to get to the end result, but to enjoy the whole process. And, that's where coaching's gotten more enjoyable for me, except for after the Dells game.
Well, good. Well, Coach, best of luck here this year. I know guys like me and you, we could probably sit here and talk about this for 2 hours. So we'll cut it off there. Best of luck this year. Again, a lot of your games will be featured at Zaleski Sports. But again, everybody get down to the gym, cheer on the Tigers, whoever your favorite team is, and we'll be there to show you all the best of it with our highlights as well. More Coach season previews coming up next at ZaleskiSports.com.